Mike Fisher reporting from the Fishbowl in Frisco, home of the Dallas Cowboys, right down the street. As you may know, I've got some Michael Irvin stories, and I thought I'd share my best weekend with Michael Irvin with you here today. There's a bunch of Michael Irvin stories, and if you're his teammate or his friend or a media person with a connection to Michael Irvin, you've got some tales. He went on 105.3 The Fan and with Sean and RJ and told a story that it wasn't a story. It was just a life framework. And then it became life advice. The boys asked him if he buys lottery tickets. Irvin said, yeah, As a matter of fact, he does. In fact, and so Sean said, when was the last time you bought one? He said, last night. And then Irvin explained the logic behind spending $20 on lottery tickets. And he basically said, talking about back in the day, for all the times that the girl would come to me and say, oh, you're Michael. Michael, is your name Michael? My name's Susie. What's your name? Your name's Michael. And that I would put a $20 bill in her undies. If I can put a $20 bill in a stripper's panties, I can certainly spend $20 and buy a lottery ticket. And then you're thinking, because his wife Sandy is the world's most tolerant woman, then you're thinking, well, he probably regretting that he said that a little bit. Then he doubled down and said it again. Then he said it louder. Then he said it funnier. Then he said it laughing some more. And then the boys wanted to hang up with him, and he said it again. If I could spend $20. Incredible. There's only one of him, that's for sure. Probably a good thing. Irvin, in our coffee table book, Not Stars and Strife, which, by the way, I'm still working on, working with a publisher to try to print those babies up, and we'll see what we can do. So stay tuned there. Irvin, in the other book we did was a coffee table book called The Boys Are Back. And it kind of got passed around, a copy of it. I'll show it to you sometime. It's quite incredible, really. It's priceless in terms of its value. Everybody signed it. I mean, everybody. I mean, Jerry signed it. I'm going to show it to you if now that we have almost 20,000 subscribers, 20,000 of us hanging out. By the way, Des Bryant hoodie coming to somebody shortly. We'll announce how here. Stick with us in a little bit. The stuff that guys wrote, I showed Marcia the other day, and she's like, they really liked you. You must have, and it was, the relationships were and still are very special. From Jerry Jones to, I mean, that thing must have 40 players in it. It's like a yearbook. It's like a yearbook from high school. And you say, hey, to, best luck in the future kind of stuff. But some of the stuff in there is great. Irvin writes in there something to the effect of, Fish, thanks for all you've done to help me with my career. And of course, I have responded to him many times, no, thanks for what you've done to help my career. Irvin was the guy that would, in the locker room, after a game, motion me, and we'd go into the bathroom so we could be by ourselves, and he'd help me with stuff. And he wasn't the only player that did it, but he was outstanding. He's the guy who helped me understand why my opinion doesn't matter. Only the facts matter. And only after you've gathered the facts do you even have the right to have an opinion. Something that's completely lost now on the world of sports media and other media. Completely lost on people in journalism. Completely lost on many fans who think, well, I have an opinion. Well, but I don't care about your opinion. What are your facts? Well, I don't care. If you don't care, I don't care. Instead of me writing that Michael Irvin had a bad game, I just go to him after the game and say, what do you got? And he'd give me the quote, and he'd give me the stats, and he'd give me the X's and O's, and it would be Irvin saying Irvin had a bad game. That's infinitely more valuable than Mike Fisher saying it. Who cares what Mike Fisher thinks? So it was incredible. And then after he retired, he wanted to go into media. So I'm thinking this is maybe 2000, 2001. And he calls me and he says, we're going to Los Angeles. And I'm like, I might want to check with my wife. He says, no, we're going to Los Angeles. And here's why. Fox Sports Radio wants to hire me. I'm a finalist for having a national radio show. Now, Irvin eventually got a local radio show in Dallas. With all due respect, he had the wrong host, and he knows he had the wrong host. That host was kind of forced upon him because he was already under an ESPN contract in another city, and it was a pricey contract, and they liked the talent, but it wasn't working out in the city he was in, so they said go to Dallas, and okay, show didn't work out. So away we go. We're going to Los Angeles. We're going to do a tryout, and we're gonna show Fox Sports National, Fox Sports Radio, why Michael Irvin should have a 5-day-a-week talk show, full-time job, pay commensurate with the idea that you're a national. And I don't know if it would have been a morning show, whatever. Probably knowing Irvin, no, it probably would have been a midday show, noon to 3. This is after I was done with Fish for Lunch on 570 Cliff. And before, of course, I landed at 105.3 The Fan, which I'm very proud of. We're going to L.A. So he says, so I'll pick you up at whatever, 8 a.m. on Friday, whatever it was. 8 a.m. on Friday. Honk, honk. I look out my window. What's Irvin? It's not Irvin. It's a limousine. Got a limousine picking me up. By the way, Fox Sports Southwest, I don't know that they were particularly interested in hiring little old me. They were interested in hiring Irvin, and they said, who do you want to be your partner? And I'm flattered to say, he could have picked anybody, and he said, I got a guy. Mike Fisher is going to be my partner. The Michael Irvin Show with Mike Fisher, or whatever. Limousine, off we go to the airport. I can't remember the flying arrangements. I assume we flew commercial, but I bet you we flew first class, because it was all on Irvin/Fox. But not me. We get to LAX, and here comes a big black, presidential-looking SUV thing. We've got a driver. That's nice, because, what if we don't want to have a drink or whatever, The driver is Bonnie Lynn. Am I remembering her name right? Bonnie Lynn? Former Cowboy cheerleader, turned activist, turned actress, turned media personality, turned everything. Animal rights. She was and probably still is a Lakers scout. The Buss family hired her to scout basketball talent. I mean, she's just this amazing person, and a former Cowboy cheerleader, who of course Irvin knew because he's Irvin. So we have that's who our driver is. So I get in the front passenger seat. Irvin gets him back, and I can hear Irvin mumbling and talking. But he's not talking to us. We're having our own conversation. Okay, and this is kind of the Forrest Gump nature of Michael Irvin. He's got Bonnie as a driver. Who's he on the phone with? He's on the phone with I think he called him Bishop. Oh, he's on the phone with a minister, with a priest, with a pastor. Well, it was T.D. Jakes giving him personal advice about how to deal with his weekend. Meaning, Michael Irvin in Los Angeles, be careful out there, young man. Stay true to your promises, stay true to your God, stay true to your vows. Be careful out there. There's so many chapters to this story. This is gonna take a few minutes, so I appreciate you hanging out with us here. The first thing, so he hangs up. 15 minutes we're driving, and he's doing it. I mean, he's in church with Bishop T.G. Jakes. Only it's just 2 people in the church, 3, if you count God. He's, I'm hungry. Then he hangs up. I'm hungry. So we go down Sunset Boulevard. And of course, I've been to LA for football games, but I've never toured LA. I've never toured LA with a actress and former Cowboy cheerleader driving and Michael Irvin directing traffic. That I've never done. Who's done that? I'm hungry. So you may have heard of the Brown Derby. If you're an older, person of a certain age, you know the Brown Derby is that's where all the that's where all the Hollywood stars of old used to hang out. That was the big restaurant, the big hangout, the Brown Derby. Famous, classic, that was a place where, Clark Gable and Fred Astaire and Marilyn Monroe and those kind of people went and had dinner. I'm hungry. There's no place to park. We pull up to the Brown Derby. There's no place to park. He doesn't really want to go in and sit down and eat. We got to get busy. We got to start preparing our show, which was going to be a Saturday night show, I believe. And this is Friday night. Irvin goes, just pull up. So he instructs Bonnie, just sit the car right in the middle of Sunset Boulevard. It'll be all right. And I'm going to run in and grab us something. I'm going to run into Brown Derby. I don't think that's really, Michael, it's not a 7-Eleven. That's not really how it works. I mean, 3 minutes later, Irvin comes out with a smile on his face this wide. He's carrying something. Now it's getting dark by this time. It's the kitchen's preparation bowl of spaghetti. It's not a bowl of spaghetti. It's not a bowl. It's not a this of spaghetti. It's a this of spaghetti. Oh, he's got spaghetti. It's spaghetti for the night. It's the night's serving of spaghetti for the whole restaurant at the Brown Derby. And what it's got in it is, where's the silverware? How are we going to eat? It's just got 2 big, he must have grabbed 2 big salad tong things. 2 big, so it's got 2 big wooden salad. Idiot. So that's how, we drove and we ate spaghetti and he's, I don't know if did he drop $100? I don't know. But he didn't go in the front door, he went in the back door. He just went into the kitchen and just took the first big thing that he saw. Serving of spaghetti for $50. So we get to the hotel, and it's a fancy hotel. And we got to, and okay, Michael, we got to prepare our show. I believe that I had set us up for, I think I got us guests. I think I got us Mark Cuban, Jerry Jones, and Eddie DeBartolo. I think we're our 3 guests. That's not bad for a 3-hour show. It's kind of like we do it here. But Michael, we got the guests, but now we need to practice. This idea. I'm trying to tell him because he didn't know yet. I think he knows now. The stand-up comedians aren't really ad-libbing, Michael. It's prepared. It's prepared in their head. They know what they're doing. Robin Williams. If you go watch Robin Williams, the late great Robin Williams, and you watch him do his like impromptu, he's on the Johnny Carson show and he just goes off. Go watch him again a month later when he's on another show. And he does a different version of the same thing. It's impromptu, but it's planned impromptu. It's like Howard Stern. People think Howard Stern's just sitting in a chair just being funny. No, he's a stand-up comedian. He just happens to be sitting down. It's prepared, it's work. Oh, we'll do that tomorrow. Let's go and get a drink. Have you ever been to the Playboy Mansion? No, Michael, I've never been to the Playboy Mansion. Away we go. So we go into the Playboy mansion. Bonnie's still driving, and she's coming with us. And she knows her way around town, and he knows his way around town, and I don't know squat. I guess they're having an art show in the backyard, the grotto and pool over there, and over here is a big gigantic tent, and it's an art show, art gallery, something. I don't know. I guess maybe we're supposed to bid on something, and it's free everything, of course. It's free food and it's free everything. So we're getting a little tipsy, or in my case, a lot tipsy. And at some point, as I vaguely recall, we're sitting at these very distinguished, very fancy round tables, and there's pro football players all over the place and dignitaries, and it's big. We're a little underdressed, but it's big. And I believe I may have put my foot up on the table. Maybe to tie my shoe, or maybe because I had a cramp. I don't know. And this tiniest little girl comes over and says, "Get your blank foot off the table." And she's wearing a pink jumpsuit. And she's very, very cute. And she's tiny. And I looked at her. I looked at Irvin. I looked at Bonnie. I said, "Get a load. Who she thinks she is? She's acting like she owns the place." Remember when Hef had the 3 girlfriends that were the 3 blonde girlfriends, and one of them ended up marrying Hank Basket? Is that his name, the wide receiver? What was her name? Do you remember her? The Playboy girl that married Hank? Little tiny blonde girl.
I know who you're talking about. They had their own reality TV.
They had a reality TV show with Hef.
Kendra something?
Kendra, that's it.
Yeah,
That, thank you. I knew you came in handy for everything. That's Joe. Kendra. I go, "Get a load of this one in the pink. She thinks she owns the place." And Irvin goes, "That's Kendra. She's Hef's girlfriend. She kind of does own the place." I got my foot off the table. The next day we do a show. And it's, if I may say, it's Jerry and Eddie DeBartolo and Cuban, I don't know, Aikman, whatever. It's fantastic. It's a national radio show, and it's Irvin being Irvin, but controlled in the best possible, in the right way. Controlled by me. I'm steering him. I'm setting him up. I'm the straight man. I'm setting him up, putting up a tee. All you got to do is, it's fantastic. Here comes Jerry. Here comes Cuban. Okay, now this is 2001 or something like that. This is big, man. They weren't doing this on national TV, radio. They weren't doing that. It was big. It was big. It was funny. It's fantastic. We get out of the thing, and here comes couple of big shots, and they're pumping our hands. That was way beyond our expectations, like nothing we ever could have expected. Unbelievable. Michael, we knew that you could do it. Whoever, Mr. Fisher, whoever the hell you are, fantastic. Me and Irvin walk out of there on a cloud, and we went back to our hotel this Saturday night. We were going to fly out Sunday, and we stayed up all night. Now, this time we didn't go out. We stayed in the hotel lobby, whatever that hotel is. It's a big circular thing, and we just up on the top floor, just the two of us, just overlooking the city, toasting how great we were, how great we're going to be, how rich we're going to be. Irvin calls me Monday. And right away I can tell, because he's not going, "Oh, fish." Michael. He calls me Michael. And something's wrong. We didn't get it. What? But we were pumping hands, and we were back patting, and we couldn't have been better. No, there's nobody. And then he explained to me that, as I recall it, that Monday morning, Dan Patrick had left Maybe he left ESPN. Dan Patrick was leaving whatever he was doing to start a national radio show. Had Dan Patrick just sat his ass at ESPN for one more day, the Michael Irvin Show with Mike Fisher would have been a national phenomenon, I tell you. But instead, Fox Sports Radio, again, I hope I get my details a little right. It was a little foggy, it was a long time ago, and we had been drinking over the course of the weekend. They hired Dan Patrick, which of course was a no-brainer. I mean, he's like a proven Michael Irvin, and would have brought advertisers and all the rest. And of course, he does a great job. And here he is now, 20 years later, still doing a great job with big time guests every day, and all the stuff that we were doing, all the stuff that we did that night that we're going to do. We finished second. Michael Irvin didn't finish second very often in all the things that he did. That was a rarity, and dragging my ass along caused him to finish second that time in Los Angeles for our national radio show. That never did happen. Things did turn out okay, by the way. I'm doing okay, and Michael Irvin as a national media figure has never been bigger and never been better. So, it all worked out. Fish out.